readers, it's time once again for another chapter of Kristy's Great Idea by Anne M. Martin. Chapter 4. Let's begin. Promptly at 5:30 the next afternoon, I crossed the street to Claudia's house and rang the bell. Claudia answered it again, this time wearing, get ready, a baggy yellow and black checked shirt, black pants, red jazz shoes, and a bracelet that looked like it was made from a telephone cord. Her earrings were dangling, jointed skeletons that jumped around when she moved. My sister totally had those. I noticed she wasn't wearing any makeup. Mom and Dad wouldn't let me, she said. Well, you got away with the skeletons. Claudia grinned. I didn't put those on until I got to school, she whispered. Mimi's the only grown-up home now, and she doesn't mind if I wear skeletons. Oh, very sneaky. Claudia knows every trick. As we went up the stairs, Claudia said, Stacy's already here. I really hope you like her. She lowered her voice. And Janine's home. I groaned. Sorry, her door's open too. At that moment, Janine stuck her head out into the hall. Oh, hi, Kristy, she said. I thought I heard voices. Claudia told me about the Babysitters Club. That sounds like an outstanding idea. Well, hopefully it will, I began. Janine's face took on her know-it-all look. Kristy, hopefully is one of the most commonly misused words in the English language. The word means in a hopeful manner. It is not acceptable to use it to mean it is to be hoped. I didn't have the vaguest idea what she was talking about. Gee, Janine, I gotta go. I cut her off as Claudia went into her room. Stacy's waiting for us. See ya. I really cannot take much of Janine, and I always make a mistake in front of her. I don't know how Claudia manages to live in the same house with her. I'm sorry, guys. It's pretty obvious to me that Janine is just trying to connect in the only way she knows how, but it might take us until, I don't know, book 7, Claudia and me and Janine, in order to really see that that's what's going on here. But clearly, Janine is the elder child in a family that put a lot of pressure on her to achieve, so she understands love as things like correction and, learning, or what really comes off as know-it-all behavior to other people. But I have sympathy for Janine. Kristy, on the other hand, not so much. I mean, I have sympathy for Kristy too. I'm just saying Kristy has no sympathy for Janine. But that's okay, she's 12. Just as I reached Claudia's bedroom, the doorbell rang. That's Marianne, I called. I'll let her in, Claude. Oh, presumptuous, Kristy. I ran downstairs, opened the door, warned Marianne about Janine, then ran back upstairs with Marianne at my heels. We ran straight to Claudia's room, careful not to look in at Janine as we ran by her open door. Hi, Claudia said, closing her door behind us. You guys, this is Stacy McGill. Stacy, this is Kristy Thomas, and this is Marianne Spear. Hi, Stacy and I said brightly. But Marianne suddenly turned shy. Hi, she said softly, speaking more to a wall than to Stacy. I looked at Stacy. I could see why she and Claudia were friends already. Stacy had on a pink sweatshirt with sequins and a large purple parrot on the front, short, tight-fitting jeans with zippers up the outside of the legs, and pink plastic shoes. She was very pretty, tall, and quite thin, with huge blue eyes framed by dark lashes and fluffy blonde hair that looked as if it had been permed recently. Ooh la la! I glanced at Marianne. She and I were still in our school clothes, skirts and blouses. I was wearing white knee socks and loafers. Marianne was wearing short white socks and saddle shoes. Marianne's hair was, of course, in braids, and I was wearing a blue hairband. We looked like second graders. Stacy and Claudia looked like models. And there ensued An uncomfortable silence. Well, I cleared my throat. Claudia, did you tell Stacy about the Babysitters Club? Just what we talked about yesterday, she replied. Did you babysit in New York? I asked Stacy. Oh, all the time. We lived in this big building. There were over 200 apartments in it. Wow, said Marianne. And I used to put up signs in the laundry room. People called me all the time. She paused. I can stay up to 10 on Friday and Saturday nights. Another wow from Marianne. I was feeling more and more like a baby. How is it possible to feel so much younger than someone who's the same age as you? I'd really like to be in the club, said Stacy. I don't know too many kids in Stony Brook yet, and it'd be nice to earn some money. My mom and dad buy me clothes, but I have to earn money for other things. You know, tapes, jewelry, and stuff. So sophisticated. How come you left New York? Asked Marianne. Marianne has a real thing for New York, for glamour and lights and stores. She wants to live in the city after she's grown up. Ooh, Kristy, also very sophisticated, dropping a the city at age 12. Yeah, Anna Martin, you went to Smith. Stacy looked at the floor. She started jiggling her right foot back and forth. Oh, she said lightly, my dad changed his job. Gosh, you have a lot of neat posters, Claudia. A little intrigue. Stacy seems not to be very comfortable discussing why she left New York. Thanks. I made those two myself. Claudia pointed to a picture of a horse galloping through a desert and to another of a girl sitting on a window seat, gazing outside. Thereby symbolizing Claudia's unbridled streak and the girl still forced to live at home before coming into her own and being the dynamic force of artistic creation that she clearly is. Boy, if I lived in New York, I wouldn't leave for anything, Marianne went on. Tell me what it's like to live there. What was your school like? Well, began Stacy, I went to private school. Did you have to wear a uniform? Asked Claudia, shuddering. No, we could wear regular clothes. How'd you get to school? Asked Marianne. On the subway. Wow. Once, Stacy added, seeing how impressed Marianne was, I took the subway all the way from our apartment to Coney Island. I had to change about a zillion times. I really want to know what that means for where I'm like, did you live on Staten Island, Stacy? Like, how many times reasonably does it take to get down to Coney Island? It takes a long time, sure, but once you get the F train, you're okay. Maybe she lived near like the 7 or something. And this is 1986. I moved there in 2002, so for all I know, she was like on the IRT or something. Wow, said Marianne again. Did you ever take a cab by yourself? Oh, sure, lots of times, said Stacy. Wow! At Marianne's last wow, we all began giggling. Well, anyway, I said, to get back to the Babysitters Club, what I think we should do is make 2 lists, one of rules and one of things to do. Does this mean, Stacy interrupted me, that I'm in the club? I glanced at Marianne, who nodded her head. I already knew what Claudia thought. Yep, I said. Oh, hey, great, Stacy exclaimed, grinning. Claudia gave her the thumbs up sign. Then she pulled a package of peanut M&Ms from under her pillow. We should celebrate, she said, handing the candy around. Marianne and I were starved and each gobbled down a handful. But Stacy just glanced in the package and then passed it back to Claudia. I only eat red M&Ms. No, Stacy didn't say that. Stacy's really nice. Stacy said, these are, you've only got 5 left, she said. No, go ahead, replied Claudia. I've got lots of stuff stashed away. Mom and Dad don't know about it. She said she had bubble gum in her underwear drawer, a chocolate bar behind her encyclopedias, because she had some encyclopedias in her bedroom, because it's Connecticut in 1986, a package of Twinkies in her desk drawer, and some wintergreen lifesavers in her piggy bank. No, thanks, said Stacy. I'm on a diet. You cried. You're skinny already. Stacy was the first person my age I knew who was on a diet. How much do you weigh? I demanded. Kristy, Claudia exclaimed, that's none of your business. But it's not safe to diet if you don't need to. My mom said, does your mother know you're dieting? Well, see? I bet she doesn't. At that moment, someone knocked on Claudia's door. Marianne, Janine called. Your father phoned on the other line. He said it's time for you to go home. I also think he was listening to like Wagner or some kind of marching music. I'm not quite sure. Marianne looked at her watch. 6:10, she cried. Oh no, I'm late. Dad hates it when I'm late. Thanks, Janine. I have to go, you guys. Wait, I said. We didn't finish making our plans. Let's meet tomorrow at recess, suggested Claudia. Really? I said. Recently, Claudia has been spending recess watching the cute boys play basketball. She never wants to play foursquare or tetherball with Marianne and me. Sure, she said, as soon as we're done with lunch, we'll meet you outside by the gym door. Somebody remember to bring a pad of paper and a pen. I will, I volunteered. Of course you will, Kristy. Marianne stood up and then practically flew home. I better go too, said Stacy. Me too, I said. Claudia walked us to the door, and we went our separate ways. The Friday lunch at Stony Brook Middle School is always the same. Sloppy Joes, red Jell-O with canned fruit in it, a dinky cup of coleslaw. 'Cause what would you rather, a generous cup of coleslaw, Kristy? Milk and a fudgesicle. I truly hate it, except for the fudgesicle. After Marianne and I had forced down as much as possible, we went outside to wait for Claudia and Stacy. We hadn't sat with them in the cafeteria because they were eating at a table full of the most sophisticated 7th grade girls whom we hardly knew, and some boys. How they could eat with boys was beyond me. The boys are always doing gross things like smushing up peas and ravioli in their milk cartons to see what colors they can make. Claudia seems to think those things are hilarious. I'll tell you what I find hilarious. The fact that Kristy thinks that Claudia is sophisticated for sitting with boys who are playing with their food, and meanwhile Kristy is founding a babysitting co-op with neighborhood 12-year-olds without parental involvement and, like, succeeding wildly. But maybe that will be a lesson that Kristy learns throughout the book. I'm really not sure. I'm experiencing this along with you as we go. Anyway, Marianne and I reached the gym door first. We played a fast game of tetherball while we waited. I won. I usually do. I'm good at sports. Hey, you guys, called Claudia about 10 minutes later. She and Stacy were walking across the playground. Hi, we answered. The four of us went to a quiet corner of the school building and sat down on some empty packing crates. I've got the paper and pen, I said, and something else. I pulled the list that I had made Tuesday night from my pocket and pointed to section 2, which was labeled advertising. This is what we have to do next. We need to let people know what we're doing. Right, agreed Claudia from underneath an outrageous felt hat, which her teacher wouldn't allow her to wear in the classroom because it would have caused outrage among all who observed it. I think flyers are the easiest way to tell people about our club. We can make up a nice ad, and my mom can Xerox it at her office Then we can stick copies in people's mailboxes. We can do it in our neighborhood and on other streets too. Anywhere that's in bike riding distance. Marianne, your dad would let you sit in another neighborhood if it weren't too far away. Wouldn't he? I guess so, Marianne replied uncertainly. And I saw Stacy glance curiously at Marianne. Good, I said. Now, we already have a name, the Babysitters Club. Do you think we should have some kind of symbol or sign? You know, like the symbol that's on the Girl Scout cookies, or the sun that's on the stationery my mom's company uses. Yeah, said Stacy, that's a great idea. We could put it on our top of our flyers. Kristy, not you, Claudia, you could draw something for us. I don't know, said Claudia. Come on, you're a great artist, I exclaimed. You can draw anything. I know I can draw, but I'm not good at, symbols and stuff. Janine's better at that kind of thing. Oh, forget Janine, I said. Anyway, we're all going to think of the symbol. We're a club. We have to agree on things. Now, what could we use? Well, said Marianne, it could be either something that has to do with babysitters, a child maybe, or a helping hand. Or it could just be something we like, a rainbow, or a shooting star, or a frog. A frog? I burst out. I began to giggle. So did Claudia and Stacy. Marianne looked embarrassed. Then she began to laugh too. How about a warthog? Suggested Claudia. A nerd, said Stacy. Maybe your brother could be our model, Kristy, because he's the president of the math club, remember? Dog food. We were all laughing so hard we could barely talk. Okay, let's be serious, I said, when we all had a nice, long laugh. It was time to get back down to business. Lunch is going to be over in 10 minutes, and we've got a lot of things on the agenda here, people. How about something with our names in it? Suggested Stacy. Yeah, said Maria and Claudia and I. But then we couldn't think of anything. How about an alphabet block with our initials on it? Said Marianne. That's cute, said Claudia. But there are 4 of us, and you can't show more than 3 sides of a block at one time. Oh, yeah, said Marianne slowly. Wait a minute, Claudia cried. I've got it. I could draw something like this. And she took the pen and paper from me and drew a little something called that logo. That's terrific. Really terrific, I exclaimed. It's perfect. Claudia, you're a I stopped. I'd almost said the G word. Genius. But Claudia is pretty touchy about that word. You're a consummate professional, Claude, I finished. A regular Vincent van Gogh of Stony Brook, Connecticut. The bell rang then, we had to go inside. But first we agreed to spend the weekend working on the Babysitters Club. And that, good friends, is where I leave you for now. Thank you for joining me for another chapter of Kristy's Great Idea by Anna Martin.